The evening had settled softly over the city, the golden light of sunset painting the horizon in warm hues. Cars moved lazily along the crowded avenue, horns blaring occasionally as drivers grew impatient. Inside one of those cars sat Daniel, a man in his mid-30s, successful, confident, and seemingly in control of his life. He had worked hard to reach this point, climbing the ladder of success from a modest beginning. Yet despite his polished suit, expensive car, and the air of self-assurance he carried, Daniel was not immune to moments of reflection. Sometimes, when the traffic slowed to a crawl and the city revealed its rougher edges, he would find himself thinking about the past he tried so hard to leave behind. That day, however, his thoughts were interrupted by a soft tap on his window. He turned his head to see a frail woman standing outside, her clothes worn, her hands trembling as she held them out in silent plea. Her eyes were weary, the kind of tiredness that came not just from sleepless nights but from years of struggle. Daniel reached instinctively for his wallet, ready to hand her some money before the light turned green. But as his eyes locked onto her face, his breath caught in his throat. His hand froze midway. The world outside seemed to blur, the sounds of the traffic fading into a distant hum. That face, it couldn't be. Daniel blinked, convinced his mind was playing tricks on him. But no, the longer he looked, the clearer it became. The woman standing outside his car, begging on the busy street, was someone he once knew intimately. Someone he had shared laughter, secrets, and dreams with. Someone who had once been the brightest part of his life. It was Emily. Memories surged like a tidal wave, crashing against the walls of his carefully built life. Emily, with her radiant smile, her boundless energy, the way she used to light up every room she entered. They had met in college, two young souls hungry for adventure, intoxicated by love and possibility. They had planned futures together, whispered promises under starlit skies, and believed that nothing could tear them apart. But life had other plans. Choices were made, paths diverged, and Daniel had not seen Emily for over a decade. Until now. Until this moment that shattered everything he thought he knew. Emily's eyes, once sparkling with life, now held a dullness that spoke of suffering. Her cheeks were hollow, her skin weathered. Yet despite the toll that time and hardship had taken, Daniel could still recognize her instantly. His chest tightened, his throat went dry. How could this be? How had Emily, the woman who once dreamed of conquering the world, ended up here, reduced to begging on the streets? The light turned green, and cars behind Daniel honked impatiently, pulling him back to the present. He fumbled with his wallet, handing Emily a bill without saying a word. She accepted it with a quiet nod, her eyes barely meeting his, as if she didn't even recognize him. And then she moved on to the next car, leaving Daniel frozen in place, his mind spinning, his heart pounding. That night, Daniel could not sleep. The image of Emily's face haunted him, replaying over and over in his mind. He remembered the first time they met, at the university library. She had been struggling to reach a book on the highest shelf, and he, ever eager to impress, had offered to help. Their hands brushed as he handed it to her, and something unspoken passed between them. It was the beginning of a love story that had once felt unstoppable. Now, years later, he was left questioning everything. What had happened to her? Where had life taken her so drastically off course? And most importantly, did she truly not recognize him, or was she pretending? The next day, Daniel found himself driving the same route at the same time, hoping, though he could not admit it to himself, that he would see her again. His heart raced with anticipation, fear, and a gnawing sense of guilt he could not quite name. When the traffic slowed near the same intersection, his eyes scanned the crowd. And there she was, Emily, standing near the curb, approaching cars with her hand outstretched. Daniel lowered his window once more. This time, when Emily approached, he called her name softly. Emily. She paused, her body stiffening slightly. Her eyes met his, searching, uncertain. For a moment, there was no recognition. But then, like a spark catching flame, realization flickered in her gaze. Her lips parted, her breath hitched, and tears welled up in her tired eyes. Daniel. She whispered his name as if saying it transported her back to another lifetime. In that instant, the world disappeared. It was just the two of them, two souls reunited under the strangest of circumstances, torn apart by fate and thrown back together by chance. The honking horns, the bustling city, the impatient drivers, all of it faded into silence. But silence could not fill the years that had passed, the questions left unanswered, the pain that lingered between them.